Hi everyone, I'm here with Crocky again. Don't you know that those Israelites were ready to get out of Egypt where they had been slaves? Get away from the crocodiles. So that's where we are this week with our Sunday Bible class lesson. Some of you got to come last week to our VBS. If you didn't get to come, you can still register for our next two VBS dates, October 4th and October 18th. But you do have to pre-register, so tell Mom and Dad to find our website and register you for the next VBS. At our first VBS last week, we learned about the Israelites crossing the Red Sea, getting away from Pharaoh, crossing the Red Sea, and then celebrating once they were crossed over and safe. Okay, let's read those stories just for a review because they're great stories. So the Israelites got out of Egypt, and as they walked across the desert, God made a pillar of cloud for them to follow in the daytime. Isn't that cool? And at night, he made a pillar of fire for them to follow so that they could see it really well in the dark. So they could follow it through the desert and they wouldn't get lost and know that they were not alone. God was with them, right? But then, you know what happened? Look at this. Those are Egyptians, aren't they? Back in Egypt, the king, the Pharaoh, changed his mind again. Oh my goodness, that's terrible, isn't it? He sent his army after the Israelites to bring them back. Closer and closer, the army of horses and chariots came. You think the Israelites were like, it's okay, God's got this? No, they were very, very worried. And they were saying, Moses, why did you bring us here? We're all going to die in the desert. God's people stood right by the Red Sea. Now, it's not red, is it? It's really blue. It's just named the Red Sea. There was no way across the water. It was too deep for them to swim and dangerous. So the king's soldiers were behind them and the sea was in front of them. It looked like they were trapped. But do you think they were trapped? What's God going to do? He's going to use Moses to do something really cool, isn't he? Just then, God moved the tall cloud behind his people to hide them from the enemy. The Egyptians couldn't see anything. Look, there's the Egyptians over there. They can't see through that big cloud, can they? It was dark on their side. And on the Israelite side, it was light. Isn't that cool what God did? All right, now look at what happened to the sea. Then Moses raised his hand over the sea, just like God told him to do. And all night, God pushed the sea back with a strong wind. The water split and made a dry path. The Israelites safely reached the other side. But what do you think happened when the Egyptian army tried to come through the same path? No, God made the waters come back down and they covered the soldiers. And that was the end of Pharaoh's army. Pharaoh shouldn't have changed his mind and gone after the Israelites, should he? He broke his promise again. He's a bad dude. So they crossed over safely through the water. And do you know what they did when they got through it? And Pharaoh's army was covered by the water. They celebrated and they praised God. That's pretty good, isn't it? That's why we made tambourines at our VBS last week, because after Moses sang some songs, his sister Miriam took her tambourine and she led the women in singing a song of praise to God. And so our tambourine said, I will sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. So that was a fun way for us to remember that story last week. Not everybody got to make a tambourine at VBS, but hopefully you got the tambourine and jingle bells in your bag to make it. That was a fun story. Let's sing a song of praise to our God. My God is so big, so strong, and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big, so strong, and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. The mountains are his and the valleys are his and the trees are his handiwork too. My God is so big, so strong, and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. Do you believe that? Do you believe God can even part a humongous sea in half? I do. I believe he can, and I have trust and faith that if I get into trouble like the Israelites when Pharaoh's army chased after them, if I get into a problem like that, guess who's there for me? God. He's there watching me and you. And also, Crocky. I think Crocky's going to miss the Israelites, don't you? Now that they've left Egypt. But I bet Crocky will still make some appearances with us. That makes him happy. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.